No, I was on the news last year.
Wasn't for anything bad, right?
No, I caught a baby.
Oh, okay. Oh, like burning building baby?
No, like out of a...
Oh, out of a human.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know if it's really a catch.
I don't know if the catch is a great...
Yeah.
It was kind
Delivered
of
a baby.
It was kind of a catch.
It was like...
Reminds me of the...
Honestly,
yeah.
I still remember that video in 5th grade when they made me watch it, you know? And I'm just like, nope.
Dude, I need a booster seat.
Mine doesn't move. It
I
just...
feel like I need to sit on like some books.
Oh, seriously?
How long are we gonna talk?
There's another one in my office.
No, that's fine. I'll just be short in this video.
Dude, I feel tall. This is...
Yeah.
I never feel tall. I'm excited about
Then you
this.
should be in the little chair.
Take a quick peek.
No, I like to be tall. I'll never get to be in real life. I only get to be tall in film. I'm like Tom Cruise.
Alright.
I stand on a milk crate when I film a scene with a leading lady. All right, folks, we're here. So this is third try today. Tried to make some content, but luckily we have our very own Patrick here, and we're going to talk to him about his journey from trad to compound, which you've got. It's a week, right? Week and a half,
Yeah.
2 weeks, something like that.
I think like exactly a week.
Exactly a week. Perfect. So this is good because he was like hardcore trad guy, and then he's like, man, I'd really like to hit stuff. What should
Proper
I do?"
trad too.
Yeah, like shot good.
Yes, like alignment, aim, strong execute, like a proper trad shooter.
Yeah, and like honestly, how easy it was to get him to be a good compound shooter, right?
I'm very curious to hear where you're at because a week of somebody who's complete beginner of compound is going to look completely different than where you're at right now.
He was stacking arrows at 20 the first day.
The very first
The
day.
very first day, the
Yeah.
arrows are touching at 20.
Yep.
So
So Pat did lessons with Joe. He did coaching with Joe with the trad bow for...
I think probably maybe 4 pretty
It was like-
solid sessions.
yeah, it was
usually.
like 4 or 5 good sessions because it's like when I'm coaching somebody, my goal is to not coach them anymore. And I know that sounds weird, but like I want to just give them the tools to use to be able to self-diagnose everything I'm going to help them with.
Until you end up getting twisted up and then...
Yeah, we did a couple refresher things when you were like had the struggles going on.
Yeah.
But mainly it was like I just kind of want to give you the knowledge you need to get you to like a good level of confident shooting and then understand how to get to those next steps if you want them. And you know, you killed a deer. You shot some 3D with us. So you shoot very, very well with a traditional bow. So
Well,
like
it feels right, you know.
it does. Yeah. I totally understand that.
So that was so what kind of got me back into archery in general. You know, through high school, I had a compound, probably garbage. You know, a box store. It was probably either too long or too short, and I killed some stuff with that through high school. Then, you know, I worked full time. I worked 6 days a week. I just didn't have a ton of archery time to hunt.
Yeah.
So then I cheated a little bit. I bought a crossbow and just killed an absolute mountain of animals.
Yeah.
It'd be just a silly amount of deer with it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really look at it as bow hunting. It was just grocery shopping at that point.
Gathering.
Yeah. Like that's meat, and
Yeah.
I don't have a whole lot of time, and now it's dead, and I'm eating it.
Which they're very good for.
Yeah,
Like
dude,
they're fantastic for...
Yeah, you don't have
for
time.
killing
You
deer.
want to kill deer.
Yep.
You want a whole season, not just 6 days a gun.
Yep.
It was $300, and I don't even know how many pounds of meat I put in my freezer.
Yeah, it's perfect.
But I felt dirty doing it every single time.
So he totally overcorrected and went traditional.
Yeah. So, but
He tried to make his atonement.
so right around like college age, I started shooting trad a little bit, but again, totally just out of the blue. Bought it on my own. You okay? You want to sit on that?
I'm trying to be casual, dude.
You want to sit on that?
Too casual. What's the metal folder
This whole
chair?
time you're just going to see me just... You keep talking, Pat.
Okay.
Don't let me distract
There's a
you.
chair in my office, dude.
I'm going to solve this.
Okay.
About college age, I bought a 60-pound Samick Sage because, you know, a guy and dumb. And just ridiculously overbowed.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it at the time, but I was snap shooting it because I couldn't hold it and draw.
Not many people could.
I hunted with it a little bit. I didn't really have any good shots. I never had any success with that, but I thought I was a decent shot in the yard.
Yeah.
But then completely cold turkey on archery for probably 10 years, just because, again, new full-time job, kids, just busy.
Mm-hmm.
Well then, so like not to make this like a mental health discussion, but I was having some like mental health issues from work.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my sort of self-treatments was to reinvestigate interests I had when I was younger that I had lost interest in.
Yeah.
And for me, that was archery, and I was mostly interested in shooting recurve.
Awesome.
So I threw some, I think, 40-pound limbs on that old sage riser.
I think that's about what you
And
came
came
in with.
in.
Yeah.
As soon as they came in the mail, I showed up here,
Yeah.
and we just basically started from zero.
Yeah. Which, honestly, 0 wasn't horrible. I remember it was like you understood how to shoot it, but there was just like little tiny things, which honestly, that's a lot of my lessons, right? It's like little tiny things can help with so many little, like a little step can get you so much return. But no, you shot well. You picked like everything I told you to do. You picked it up super quick. Like I remember that first day, it was like we went from like, you know, the typical 5-yard bail, get a shot. Like we pushed it to 20, and like you were grouping well by the end of the day. Right. It was just a couple of those lessons like that to just get you over the hump. And then I remember you decided you wanted a Satori.
Yep. I think we ordered it like.
It was like immediate.
The second,
I was like, okay.
When you shot mine, and you're like, I need this.
Yep.
So.
All right, I'm in full set.
So what drove you to like want to do the compound thing? Like what was that like?
I was kind of looking for another discipline.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it sounds kind of backwards, but I wanted compound to shoot far, but also like just keep building those sort of little puzzle pieces in the mind for my trad.
Yeah.
Because I know everybody thinks I'm gonna, but I don't have any intentions of killing anything with that compound.
Dude, we're gonna have a bet on this. I swear to goodness.
We glued my points in, and I don't even have screw-ins or broadheads.
They're camshaft. We can fix all that.
But I want to shoot stuff far away, and I can shoot 100 yards of my house, and I would like to get to a point where I can just hit, a target at 100.
That's next Wednesday at Bowman. We're doing this. Like it's not gonna be hard. Like watching him shoot a bow, it's not hard to do.
And the tack stuff, some of the longer range 3D, that just looks fun.
Yeah.
And I know it's not impossible with a trad bow, but
it sucks.
you're gonna be losing a lot of arrows.
Yeah.
But I cannot take that compound off the shelf and shoot it and not grab my recurve and also shoot it.
Yeah. Like every time I see, he's got both. He came in today. He's got both in his hand.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm probably the most backwards person on earth, but
I dig that though. It's absolutely true that when you shoot a compound, it helps you with recurve. It proper. If you do either one properly, it's going to help you fill in like how you just said the puzzle pieces. I definitely see that with people and ours too.
Yeah.
And shot count, like because the first thing, it doesn't matter what tab I shoot. The first thing that like okay, I'm done for the day is my fingers just hurt.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be able to
put the root strap on and go to town.
Keep going.
Right?
I can get a lot of reps. And that's why I bought that other bow, because it's lighter poundage, and I just wanted to keep shooting.
Yeah.
Especially shooting a lot of arrows a short time.
Yeah.
Because it's just, I don't know, maybe I got soft fingers, but they just start hurting after a little while.
Yeah. So like, what do you think of it so far? Like you've shot it for a week now. You have like a basic understanding of like how everything works, how the bow feels, like what your potential for accuracy is kind of now at this point.
So right now I kind of still feel like baby giraffe with it. Like every time I pick it up, it feels like I'm holding a robot.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Like I feel dirty. It's not quite a crossbow, but
that goes
not,
there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm there. But then I like that I can hold a long time, because I can like really think about it and not like, okay, I got to start getting something done here. This is okay. Let it go. Like you don't have that, so you have the time to really think about what you're doing. Really focus on the pull without worrying about like I'm only good for a few more seconds. I'm good for a while. I like that. I like that you can sort of call your shot.
Okay.
I mean, you can kind of, I can kind of call my shot with a recurve. Like I'll know if I collapse, I'll know if I pluck for the most part. But with this, with the compound, I feel like immediately I know, yeah, that one wasn't quite right.
Okay.
And it usually shows.
Yeah.
Again, it's been a week. I can't, like, oh, well, I think I over torqued. I don't know. Something didn't feel right. I don't know. Let's just keep shooting.
How many people that can self-analyze after 1 week?
It's not a week though. It's years of trad that led into a week, right?
But he said, like, even with trad right now, are you able to do that like as consistently with compound? I'm curious.
No, just because it's so new. I mean, honestly, I probably maybe 200 shots.
Yeah.
With the compound.
So when you say call your shot, you mean shoot, I did this wrong, or is what?
Or it's just like more where the pin is. When
more
it breaks.
So where it is in the flow, because I'm trying to not really worry about the pin so much right now, because I usually don't have them.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of trying to focus on doing the same process with the recurve. So I set, I draw, anchor. Okay, right about there, it looks like where I want to aim, and then I kind of forget about it. Like I'll even, if I open this eye, I don't know, I got crooked eyes, but I will immediately get double vision.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter where I'm aiming because I'm aiming at two things at the same time. So I'll kind of do that and lose it, and then barely squint this eye to just kind of bring it back into the world and pull, and it's gone.
Okay.
And I don't typically worry a whole lot about where it is in the flow because something happens and it just kind of ends up being there.
Yeah, because you're staring at the center until it gets there.
I don't know. It seems like witchcraft, but with the compound, I get this like tiny little metal snapshot. When it breaks and the pin, like, oh, I feel like that was down and right.
That usually takes people a long time to get.
Yeah.
Like that little, when it breaks, where it's at.
Right.
And that's the only way to become, like Joe was saying at the beginning too. The best thing a coach can do is make you not need a coach anymore.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, not the best thing for my wallet, but the best thing for your student.
It is.
You know?
It's good for his wallet because they just come buy more stuff.
Yeah.
You have to feel that.
Yeah, we'll let you know eventually. Yeah, no, that's awesome, man.
Self-analyzing is so big.
It's like literally the most important
It's everything.
thing.
It truly is. How are you going to solve anything if you don't know what the problem is? Just throw random solutions at it until something sticks, and then what happens when the next problem comes?
That arrow's to the right. Was the pin there when it broke? Did I do something? Like, what happened there?
Yeah. So what do you think what do you think gave you the biggest leg up in compound? Because obviously you're doing better than most people are going to be doing. What principles from trad?
Tension, I think, probably.
What do you mean tension?
So getting back, finding my, pulling this in, that's where I need to be, and pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling until it's just kind of not there. And I'm trying to do the same thing, but just
with the wrist versus the fingertips.
Right. So it feels like I'm doing the same thing, only there's a hard back wall instead of just more and more and more and more and more and more and more, and it's gone. So it's like, okay, and then I pull and I pull. I try to just not punch a trigger. I try to curl and pull, and it breaks when it breaks, I hope.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it looked like. That's what I was literally like when you came in today, like, that was literally like in my head the thing I was gonna watch. That's why, like, as soon as you went to shoot, all I was doing was staring at your finger on the trigger, that first shot. And when you broke it like that, I'm like, meh. He hasn't developed a bad habit yet. Okay, perfect. Like, that's the easiest thing. Like, then I'm like, okay, wait. Now your form's still good. You didn't do anything silly, which I honestly, at the end of the day, I expected. I did not expect you to like develop a high shoulder, because you would have felt that from all your years of shooting traditional bows. You would have felt that shoulder come off.
The first few days I had to consciously,
when we set you up, I
was like, oh, yeah, push that down.
Yeah.
And that's...
You think that's more of a symptom of the way the draw cycle is on that bow, where it pushes harder on you than like your trad bow kind of builds slow?
I think it's probably because it has a back wall.
Oh, okay.
So you get it, this is the draw length, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So whether you do this or this, it's the same.
It's going to stay the same no matter what.
With the recurve, I'm sort of like trying to push this hand into my target almost.
Okay.
Like, not reaching and stretching, but it's definitely a push. And with the first day or two with the compound, because there's no, it's a set length. Like this kind of was wanting to creep up a little bit.
Okay.
So I just gotta like make a mental note. Like, nope, that goes down. Goes out.
In traditional archery, anything with fingers, there's this concept of never decreasing tension, where what Pat was saying, when you're at full draw, your arrow tip never stops going backwards. It slows down like crazy. Like when you're at anchor, that arrow tip should be just, at least in your head, you're constantly increasing tension, but the idea is that it should never, ever, ever decrease tension.
Yeah.
And a lot of times what people struggle with in compound is that let off
Getting in that
allows
valley,
you.
I put him on 85% too, so like he's got some valley there, but not like he's not going to get lost in it.
But the concept's been beaten into his head with trad, where if you lose
that's all
tension
coach.
with a trad bow, your accuracy is going to be all over the place. Compounds are so forgiving that valley allows you to get lazy, lose tension, and then when you try to regain tension, when your body's under pressure, it's very hard to be aware of exactly how much tension and then exactly what direction that tension's going into. So when I see people that shoot traditional successfully, it's that I hear, and then it's also execution, which is one leads perfectly into the next. Where a static shot, you see that a lot with new compound shooters if they're not shooting it the proper way, but you see somebody coming from a recurve, you can't help but to follow through.
It's the same thing when Angela picked up that bow, right? Like she picked it up right away.
It's super easy transition.
Another thing, I just thought of this that I'm really digging with the compound. So the recurve and the trad stuff feels like art, and the compound feels like science. Because it kind of takes you out of the picture a little bit, because the machine is so perfect at what it does that you're sort of just operating the machine.
There's so many compound shooters out there going like, no it doesn't, no it doesn't.
But I mean,
but I love it.
It totally makes sense. I've never thought about it that way, but it does.
You pick up the trad bow, and mine is nice. It's a really nice trad bow, and it's carbon limbs, and I shoot off a springy, so maybe it's not trad, but it's a bendy stick,
At the end
so
of the day,
here's the machine for that, and I understand you can't just turn your brain off when you shoot compound, but
you're not as engaged.
The
get you there.
the length is the length. I can't change that. Like I know that this thing is tuned, right? It comes out of the machine, it's tuned, it's perfect. But like when I pick up my recurve one day I'm tuned way weak, and the next day I'm tuned way stiff. I'm like, that is not the machine. That is me. So that's that's just like
that's
amazing to hear.
I like it. I enjoy it so far, and I know that as I get further and further away, I'm gonna like it more. It's just I just love watching
arrows fly.
Although this thing's too fast, I can't see them fly.
Oh, dude, wait till we introduce like a lighted knock and you're shooting at 100 yards at dusk.
I'm in.
It's the most beautiful thing in the world.
I ordered a 10 by 16 net backstop to stretch up at the edge of my woods.
You're not going to need that.
I have children.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, for you, you're not going to need that.
I've seen you shoot it.
And if you have a 3x3 bail, you're never going to come off that at 100 within a certain amount of time.
I'll show you Wednesday.
I know Joe helped you with this. What was your process in choosing a compound bow?
We shot, I don't know, it was a couple sessions. I think I came in twice.
Yeah, you came in and shot both.
Wanting to fool around with them a little bit. Did some research after I shot a few. Did some research on components and accessories that I wanted. And then came in on another day with money and ready to buy something. And we shot 3 that day. And it was just process of elimination. They happen to all be used, which I'm fine with. I kind of don't care. In my mind, I thought I wanted the Exalt because of the length. Because I don't really plan on hunting, and if I do hunt, I'm already hunting with a 60-inch bow, so a 35-inch bow is
Same, you're smaller anyway.
and I ended up liking the PSE more. It just felt like it came back easier. I don't know. I just shot a few, and I like the way this one grew. And not having the education on it is kind of nice because it's like you don't get paralysis by analysis if you don't know what you're looking at.
No bias.
Yeah, you're just like, yeah, sure, this feels right. Put it on.
Yeah.
Shoot it.
I like the choice too. That's probably my favorite aluminum bow.
And it's got some street cred too. So yeah.
It's been to a couple tacks. Dudley has signed it, so it's a great bow. It was my old bow.
There's no blood on it yet.
It's gone, but not forgotten.
I dropped it once, and I punched myself in the face with it once, and that's where we're at so far with that.
What happened when you punched yourself in the face?
I had the booger hook.
Oh, yeah. Keep your finger. Yeah, keep your booger hook off the trigger.
Yeah. Well, I didn't.
Yeah.
And
I feel like we talked about that a lot that first day.
It was literally 90 minutes after.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh.
I got home and second or third shot, and I absolutely crapped
Tell me
myself.
Charlie got to watch it and make fun of you.
Oh, she was out playing for
Oh,
sure.
man.
She heard the bad words.
Yeah.
But that's normal.
Okay.
Self-correcting injury. That's usually you're good for one and just one.
Yeah.
Dude,
And that's
And I'll warn people. I'll warn everybody. I'll warn them like three times.
I was
and then
on
I'm
the
like,
whole time. You should
all
be
right.
like, dude.
and that's honestly, I didn't think I would want a trigger release. I thought I would want some sort of hinge or tension release. Bad idea. If you're new to this, here's my advice. If you're new, skip that for a minute, unless you want a bloody nose.
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't get one of the hinges or the thumb buttons for now, because I absolutely would have had my I know myself, and I would end up wrapping my hand around it. And
Well, you would do it once or 3 times, but
I'm not the smartest guy. I would probably do it a few times.
Reasons that people go to a thumb button, or well, personally, I don't think a hinge is ever a great idea. Some people can make it work absolutely for your first release. Index releases are very hard to build into your head proper shot execution. I wonder if that was because most people don't shoot them properly right out the gate.
Yeah.
You already had the process, so implementing this is no extra. But that is it's a good release to start with because it's really hard to punch yourself in the face.
instead of trying to rip his
Apparently
fingers
it's
through the string, he's trying to rip his finger through the trigger.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like
So it was
Yeah.
a nice
It's
transition
here
going from that to that.
to here,
Yeah.
basically.
Like
Yeah.
I'm trying to, like I'll curl that trigger pretty deep with my index finger,
Mhm.
and I try to not move my finger anymore,
Mhm.
and then just
Pull your hand through the strap.
just
Yeah.
reef on it until it goes.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, it happened a few times where I just touched it and I'm like, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that is exactly a punch.
Yeah.
Immediately,
This
I'm
will
like,
lead.
oh,
This
that's
will
a,
lead to issues
that's
down
a
the
punch.
road.
Like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So you recognize it immediately.
Immediately,
Did
because
you care where the arrow went, or you just immediately were like, "Screw that, never again"?
it just kind of happened on act, like, because it's a pretty sensitive trigger. I haven't adjusted it yet, but like in the process of getting set up, bumping it,
I wouldn't even
And-
call that a punch.
and
Yeah, that was just an accident.
Yeah.
bow goes off, and I'm still right here.
Oh, you just hadn't even started
Had
that pull.
no
yet.
tension.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not a punch, man.
Yeah,
That's,
that's
you're
okay.
good.
That's just a mistake.
Punches, nah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is like,
okay.
nah.
yeah. Usually, you're driving by the yellow dot. You're like, smoked it.
Dude, that's kind of amazing to hear. You set him up with a trigger release,
Yeah.
a wrist rocket,
Yeah,
and you haven't punched it yet. If those were your 2 punches were accidental, like misfires,
Trying not to.
dude, that's a tremendous.
yeah. And that trigger is like a super light.
It is light.
That Scott S. I think it's the S1 or the S2. I can't remember which one
Okay.
we went with. But like it's like a
Who's the non-premium leather wrist?
yeah. It's the slightly less fancy one because the leather's black, not gray.
All right.
But he saved $30, so hey, we're good. But yeah, no, it's like a nice, clean trigger. But no, that's awesome, dude. That's great, and we'll eventually get you on some other releases, I'm sure. But
Yeah, right. But I'm not in a hurry.
If need be.
yeah,
you know,
yeah. There's a lot of people that shoot a wrist rocket forever, and they shoot it well. So
That's awesome. Are you doing TAC this year?
I haven't made any plans, and I don't even know when they are. And I know the tickets.
sign up is the 26th for Indiana, Kentucky.
This 26th of this month.
Oh, like in a couple days.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
We'll talk
We'll
more about
talk
that.
about
Yeah.
that.
We don't need
Yeah, I
to,
can
we don't
even
need to
look-
plan his life on camera.
I
I'd
haven't
be
even
super
looked at
curious
days.
to follow up with him and see where this goes because I love that little stretch of what he was saying about how easy it is to shoot a compound because truthfully it is easy. We make it difficult.
Yeah, I just
By
want to keep his
interrupting
brain
your
this
processes.
pure. I don't want him to expose him to other
Well,
people.
I'm not soiled yet. I
Yeah.
just haven't.
But you don't ever have to be.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you have
Sure.
the process built into your head from trad, and you can punch a trad bow, right? You can pluck the string. You could. So you've built
Yeah.
in the correct process. You just change the details of it, and there's no reason that you ever need to fail.
Yeah,
Everybody thinks that eventually you're gonna get the panic. It's like not if you learn right. Like you never have to dive into that target panic.
It is maybe the hardest thing about archery in general for me personally so far is like when I'm doing this whole thing with my crooked eyes, and it is so hard to not continuously aim and dump
closing that door. Yeah.
just dump it when it's where like, oh, it should be there. I need to get rid of this now because that's my sight picture. I got to get rid of this, and it is so hard.
Are you talking
to
about
just
compound or trad?
trad mostly because I just so new to this.
Okay.
But it is like, there's my shot. It is so hard to not just go foink. Because when you do, it's not there now, and you have to just. I don't know how it works. It's witchcraft, but you just kind of ignore it.
Yeah.
And just keep pulling,
It'll
and
get
the
there.
arrows just kind of land where they're supposed to somehow. And that's the hardest part for me is not focusing so much on the microscopic perfect aim, and just trusting that this machine up here will at the very last second sort of go and fuzz it right where it needs to be, and it just kind of works.
It's interesting because that is the hardest struggle for you and for everybody else. Mostly that's like everybody's struggle, but it is also the key to the biggest success. Like when you watch Lancaster and you're open pro and their stabilizers doing this.
And their arrows are
all
all
they
going
say-
in the same hole.
Yep, they're like, I just keep staring at the center and executing my shot, and I'm ignoring my pin. And that's how you can shoot a bow like this and go inside out 11, inside out 11.
And that's funny you mention that because like the first day I get home after I left the shop here, it's a little windy, not bad, just a tiny breeze outside, and man, I felt now that you have something to focus on, you got this little pin, rather than just looking at the top of an arrow that's in your mind looks like it's this big, and now this pin is like this, and just the tiniest wind, you're like, there's no way I'm gonna hit it. Like I can't.
That's what just happened to me at Punderson.
And then you just kind of,
Yep.
oh, it's kind of there.
Yeah.
That's an amazing thing. That's like the best thing ever. You break your shot, your pin's over here, but it's a bullseye. It's like,
Right, and then
Okay.
when you consciously try to maintain that hold, at least for me,
Oh, everything goes to hell.
like if I'm like, all right, I'm keeping it in the yellow, that's where it needs to go, and that's where it's gonna. And nope, it's not there. Now it's 4 inches down and over.
Yep.
you can focus on holding or you can focus on execution. And if you focus on holding, then you're not worried about making the shot.
Yeah.
You're
Right.
just worried about getting steady.
Yeah,
You could hold your bow so steady over the bullseye, and it will never hit the. You gotta shoot it.
Yeah.
witchcraft.
You gotta shoot the bow.
Yeah.
Just shoot the bow, man.
Shoot your bow.
Good old George Ross. Yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's
I like this, and again, it's just a new discipline,
yeah.
and it's a new thing to learn,
Yeah.
and
Pat likes hard things too.
you're kind of dumb.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just been good for me
That's awesome.
to have a new thing to learn.
I'm excited to follow back up with
Yeah, like we need to do like a 6-month check-in.
you. Yeah.
Pat will have all gray hair.
Or just the road to 100, man. When you're dialed, just like, all right, first time
Yeah,
ever
we're shooting
shooting.
100 if he comes out to shoot this week.
Cold
Sweet.
bore, 100-yard.
No, we'll get your tape first, and then we'll test it at 100.
But I would love if we could
Oh, yeah.
possibly get that.
Oh,
That
yeah,
way,
I'll
it's
get it,
like
yeah.
for these people who 100 is. If you've never thought about shooting 100, just to show you how easy it is if you have a good
Right.
shot.
Yeah.
Which I had not. I never even was in the realm of possibility.
And then, and
And like
That machine will
like
do it.
I'm gonna make a prediction that he's gonna shoot we're gonna get a tape, right, and it'll be close enough to shoot a group at 100, right? And he's got a dozen arrows, half a dozen arrows. We get a half a dozen arrows. So we're gonna put a half a dozen arrows, and I'm betting you it's gonna be about this. That's my guess.
I'll bet it'll blow his mind.
Yeah.
I'm shooting. My goal is like garbage can lid.
Oh no, that's like, dude, like seriously.
Even that would be awesome.
Yeah,
like a garbage can lid at 100.
To me,
that's pretty darn good.
I'm saying inside the ring light.
I believe it.
Like that's.
Are you counting like the old flyer?
Depending on what's happening.
Okay.
Like if he makes good shots, they'll go.
Get a video of that when
Oh,
you guys go
for
out.
sure,
Just like
sure,
just
yeah.
like not even like a whole video. Just like
We'll do a follow up short or something.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, because it's
that'll
way
be-
easier than you think if your shots go.
That'll be cool because the tape thing to me also seems like witchcraft.
Well, you've
You
set up
can-
rifles. You know, like ballistics. Like
Right.
it's the same thing.
But it's just wild to me that he can be like, okay, here's your 20-yard little mark, and then you got a little mark there, and then you put on this little thing with numbers on it, and
You just dial her down, man.
whack, and it's probably there.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's pretty neat.
It's pretty phenomenal where archery's at right now.
Oh, it's yeah. Like,
Right.
could you imagine if you brought back like Fred Bear, and you had to explain to him why his compound sucks so bad with his name on it, and then you hand him like a good bow, be like, here's a 50 pound, say whatever, Matthews or PSE or whatever, right? And it's all got the bars on it and the slider sight, and he's just stacking arrows. Could you imagine the killing spree he would have went on in the 50s if he would have had that kind of setup?
All the things he crippled, he would have killed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the poor
I'm not taking anything away from Fred Bear.
No,
The
no,
dude is
just-
the gangster of gangsters. But
Oh, yeah.
let's be honest, he probably crippled a lot of stuff.
Wasn't he the one that said like if there's carbon in the air, there's hope?
Yeah.
Like he had that quote or something
Something
along
That's
those
an
lines.
Aaron Snyder quote, but like, yeah.
I was say something along those lines. Fred Bear,
Yeah.
I think he said.
We
but
can
it's-
only aspire to be as good as Fred Bear was shooting left-handed, not even hitting full draw.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey,
isn't that
Yeah.
just a testament? And that's the thing too. Pat has put in a tremendous amount of work and is willing to put in a tremendous amount of work. So much so that he bought a backup longbow at a lower poundage so he can keep shooting his bow.
yeah. Pat shoots a lot,
It's
so.
you can never neglect that part of it.
But
You
there
can't
also
just walk in.
there also comes a point where okay, I am falling apart,
Yeah.
and it is time to stop, or I am just going to get pissed and lose arrows, and I'm hanging it up there.
Yeah, no. That's when it's like, all right, I'm going to go get an adult cold beverage, and I'm going to sit on the back porch and chill.
Way less common of a problem than the alternative,
Yeah.
but certainly a problem.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky that I can shoot at home.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's
Like
nice to
I
see that.
imagine having an apartment or a small yard I would be very frustrated having to get in the car and drive somewhere and do this.
Yeah.
Because if I could just, again, I hate to keep bringing up mental health, but it really, it helped me in so many ways having something at home that when you're doing it, there's no room for any other noise and stuff. When you got a lot going on, you don't have the capacity to think about that when you're shooting if you're trying to shoot well, because all you can think about is I have to keep pulling and I have to do this right and I have to paint the face and I have to
Yeah.
there's no room for work stuff, kid stuff, money stuff. There's just no room for it. And it's it's not a miracle drug, but man, it has fixed a lot of things for me.
A lot of people think when your mental health is rough, you go relax.
Oh, that's the worst.
For me, that was the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I remember Elon Musk said he goes and plays Diablo.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's the only way I can relax because it takes all of my mental energy into this game. And it's like relaxing is not, it's just time to dwell on your problems, get miserable.
And getting the compound just adds another layer.
Yeah.
Like, you know what?
Something else to think
Today I
about.
want to shoot far away.
Yeah.
And
I can't wait for you to
there's
say-
a lot higher penalty because if I miss, that arrow is gone.
Yeah, and you have to pay
I'm
attention.
finding it with the mower in the spring, in the summer.
I do have a friend that bought a metal detector to find arrows.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's probably a dozen in my yard.
Yeah. No, I'm really interested to see like how this goes. Like, get the tape on. Like, I can see it's like 50, 60 just shooting groups, right? Shooting groups.
And then
Yep. And it's like triple digits.
You guys aren't going to shoot a group at 50. I bet you as soon as he gets to 50, he's like,
Well, that's the thing. Like, if you're shooting at a high level, shooting groups at 50 is a horrible idea because you're going to break your arrows.
Sure.
Like, I broke a slew of arrows at those distances.
yeah. If you're shooting fat arrows at a 3D target, you're gonna keep hitting your arrow over and over and over.
So it's like, it's one of those things. It's like, because there's nothing like how fun it is to shoot groups, right? So
I agree.
Right, because again, grown up shooting rifles, shooting everything,
yeah,
you want that little group.
yeah,
You
yeah.
want that
You just
little
wanna,
group,
like, reach
and
down
you want
and
those
grab
3
them all,
holes
your arrows
close
with
to
one
each
hand.
other.
Yep.
But it's the same group if you shoot it at 5 spots and the arrows in the same
But it's just
spot.
not as
Relative.
rewarding.
It just doesn't look as cool.
Yeah.
I was gonna say sometimes, but sometimes it's not. You haven't shot indoor leagues, but there's a phenomenon where you will shoot each target differently. Like you'll have a dead center group, you'll have a high left group, and then you'll have a dead right group.
Witchcraft.
It's you aim at them differently based on where they're at, and it's I would say it's 9 out of 10 people experience that where they will have a group, even if they can't see the holes, they just happen to shoot them differently than if they were to shoot at one single spot.
Really?
It's real. Yeah. That's why I encourage a lot of people to start at a single spot, because the aiming, deciding which of the 5 spot you're going to aim at is a completely different mental approach than, that one,
Right.
the big single spot. So it does,
It's
in my opinion, it does
yeah.
hurt your accuracy at first, and it's a different game to shoot at
It is,
multiple
yeah.
spots as opposed to just always lining up to the same.
I wouldn't even think that'd be a factor.
It is.
That's cool.
It's
It is,
weird.
and it's so
And
bizarre.
like that other video you guys were talking about, something as simple as lighting.
Oh yeah.
Like some of these people are so precise that the lighting changes,
yeah.
and I'm like, oh, I closed one eye.
What's your way, Patrick? Well, you'll see.
And you say it like at tournaments like Lancaster, they have their qualifications, their eliminations over in this big room, but then their shoot offs is on this stage. They have a practice stage in the room next to it with as identical lighting as possible, and even then you'll see some people shooting in here come over here and be like, oh, I'm a 1/4 inch off.
Yeah.
See, just the fact that there are people walking around that can know that they're a 1/4 inch off blows my mind.
Yep. Coming from Trad, 1/4 inch off as I hit the same exact spot.
Yeah, like I'm pounding.
That's an arrow shaft off.
Yeah. But no, if you're shooting, especially in hunter class where you're not allowed to touch your sight, that matters. Like a 1/4 inch, a 1/2 inch, especially at Lancaster where that middle dot is actually worth extra points, not just a tiebreaker. Yeah, that's the thing. Your accuracy goes up, but so does your standard with a compound. So
That's awesome.
that's
Again,
mostly indoor stuff. It works for outdoor too, but indoors where it gets the most frustrating.
Yeah, every once in a while lighting will
This
get
is a
you.
whole new rabbit hole.
A whole new
You
world.
know, and I'm nervous about where I end up because
Oh, you'll be fine.
I don't have unlimited income,
You'll be fine.
but I know I'm gonna end up buying more and more stuff.
But realistically, at the end of the day, you started with a good slider single pin sight.
Right, and I didn't
You
want to get
started with
stuff
a
that I would
good
have
rest.
to upgrade.
You got a good bow.
Yeah,
You started with good arrows.
yeah.
I mean, arrows are going to be your most consumable thing at the end of the day, really.
Yeah. I mean, I absolutely digest them at home.
Yeah.
They have a very short lifespan at my house.
What did you drop on this setup?
Uh,
Was it like 1400? Was it
I think it
18?
was
I think you-
16 something.
Yeah,
but
it was
again, we got
definitely sub 2.
yeah, it was way sub 2. I
Yeah.
think it was like 1650.
That sounds about
And that's
right, yeah.
then that's getting
A good used bow.
nice arrows.
Yeah, you
Those
got
are nice
you got
arrows.
spendy arrows. You got TKO, so that's like 110 a half dozen.
Yeah.
Right. Which again, dude, you could have got some
Yeah.
victory.
LT bows.
Yeah.
Not Amazon arrows, never.
Yeah.
No.
V-forces are
But
the
like
cheapest
any
early so.
standard arrow,
yeah.
probably just fine.
Yeah,
any
but,
standard.
but there was a
release-
chance that you have a dozen of them somewhere hidden. Did you find them?
I did not find them.
Oh, we're gonna have to talk.
I have
to
a
someone.
dozen full length Victory Rip 350s somewhere in my garage.
Somewhere.
Shafts or
Shafts.
why?
I bought them. They were a little too stiff for the
Oh,
story.
trap bow, gotcha.
Yeah.
And then I just stuck them on a shelf. I thought.
A little tube this big, this long.
Well, I'm pretty sure I put that little tube in a flat rectangular box, and when I grabbed that flat rectangular box, they were not in it.
Okay.
So I don't know where they're at.
So they're somewhere. So that's why we went this way.
But you very easily could have chopped a couple $100 off of that, and probably been just fine. But like, I like that release a lot.
Yeah, you got a spendy release
Right,
too.
like that's a nice one.
Yeah.
but we're still under 2 Gs.
Yeah.
To me, that's a really nice bow.
Yeah.
The sight is great.
Which site did you get?
The CB.
The Trek Pro.
Yeah.
What we were looking at the landslide or the driver, but I wanted my pin to come up.
I see. Did you get the V2 or the single pin?
Two.
I love that sight. I'm not a big fan of the double pin, but the Trek Pro is a really nice sight.
Yeah, it already has the tapes to go to 130.
That's, like, you got pretty much
Pretty nice
the
stuff.
best quality stuff that you can get.
Like if you're going like dollars for donuts, right? If you wanted to, I want a really good build that I can use for almost anything in the world. Like, I wouldn't change much.
The only next step up as far as expense goes is full-on tournament archery, long bars, achieve, tournament
Yeah,
sight.
he did like a 12-inch front bar, 10-inch back bar.
And
on
then
HHA,
today
or
we
AA.
threw the little back bar on, and I really like. So before it felt a little front heavy, and like after the shot, I kind of wanted to sort of dump out of my hand, and it seemed to float vertically really quickly. And then we threw that back bar on it, and it just seems to just kind of sit there a little better.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Yeah.
But again, I already had that bar because I tried it on a recurve. You could do it for a lot less, but
I think where you stepped in is honestly like one of my favorite places for someone to step in, right? Good used bow, good accessories that if you do decide to upgrade, you can put on a new bow.
Oh,
in the
absolutely.
future.
I can come in and be like, ooh, I like that. Let's try that. And the shoot's good. I'm like, okay, we just gut mine and put all that stuff right on here.
Exactly.
But realistically, aside from you getting antsy, there's no
there's
real need
unless
to
he
get
decides like
anything else.
I really want to like we bring him to like indoor leagues, right? And he like loses it, and he's like, I need a full blown target rig.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Until you get like
Please don't lead me down that path yet.
I'm not leading you nowhere, bro.
the
Fishing.
path,
I have fishing
you
things
find
I want to buy.
that path.
Yeah.
Nobody leads you into that. You just see people doing it, like Jordan and Ben with the fat arrows. It's like, oh, that's a foot.
No,
in the door.
you got them though, because you were like, hey, I have these fat arrows. You guys can have them.
Because they kept asking about
Yeah,
it. Like
yeah.
they're like, oh, fat arrows. And I was like,
Yeah, here's some fat arrows. Yeah.
I got some fishing
then Ben
stuff
got a
I wanna
target
buy
bow.
first.
Oh.
So let me get my live scope. Let me get my fishing stuff, and then maybe we'll talk.
no, you got so much.
Yeah, dude, you've got a lot to.
You can use that thing. What you're doing for so long. I know me and Joe have shot countless indoor rounds with just hunter class setups.
Yeah, I've shot some of my best scores ever with your exact build almost.
Yeah.
Different
I like
site,
it.
but same exact build.
And I'm confident. Back in the day, when I shot the box store bow, I'm confident it didn't fit. Because
I could almost bet it.
Because now, like this thing, like, oh yeah, this feels right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most of the time, you're in that situation. If you haven't had a pro shop look at you or somebody that knows what they're talking about, it's impossible to just buy a compound and have it fit you. You need somebody with.
There's a chance you are a 29-inch draw.
And
but,
then your
like,
peak
not
bite's almost guaranteed to be wrong. And then like almost always these big boxers are the rest out of center shot.
Yeah.
Just like all kinds of things that makes archery very hard, even harder than it is already. And then you give it up because you don't think you're good at it when really your equipment's been working against you.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, dude. I'm excited. Like this actually, and I think this actually ended up working out better. That every other video we filmed today was a shit show.
I agree.
So no, this actually kind of, I don't know. We always have this like rule. It's like just go with your gut, and this works.
Yeah,
I like it.
Sorry for the late release, but it's worth it for Pat.
We wanted to
Look
bring
at
in
that
Pat.
mustache.
What an honor.
Yeah, awesome.
Thank you guys for watching.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for coming, Pat. We appreciate
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. Thank you, man.
Yeah, cool. That was fun. See you next time.
Oh.